Tensions between powerful nations on the open sea have been escalating, with rival fleets patrolling contested waters. As lines blur and the stakes rise, the seas become a stage for high-stakes encounters. In recent months, few countries have experienced this level of pressure more than the China-Russia duo and the United States, with their warships operating dangerously close to each other. What happens when American aircraft carriers are encircled by Russian forces? Join us as we dive into the gripping events making headlines. U.S. aircraft carriers surrounded by Russian warships. Since the end of World War II, the United States has maintained a formidable naval presence in the Pacific, profoundly shaping the region's geopolitical landscape. This strategic commitment has involved safeguarding vital shipping lanes, deterring potential aggressors, and projecting U.S. foreign policy across this vast oceanic expanse. Immediately following World War II, the U.S. established a network of military bases throughout the Pacific to consolidate its influence and protect its interests. Key installations included Pearl Harbor in Hawaii, which became a critical command and control center, Yokosuka Naval Base in Japan, the largest U.S. naval base in the Pacific, and Subic Bay in the Philippines, a strategic hub for naval operations in Southeast Asia. These bases, along with others in Guam, Okinawa, and Australia, enabled the U.S. Navy to project power across the Pacific and maintain a constant presence. During the Cold War, the U.S. Navy's role in the Pacific became increasingly significant as it sought to counter the Soviet Union's global influence. A notable example of this strategic posture occurred during the Cuban Missile Crisis of October 1962. The crisis began when U.S. reconnaissance flights detected Soviet nuclear missiles being installed in Cuba, just 90 miles from the U.S. coast. In response, President John F. Kennedy ordered a naval quarantine of the island to prevent further Soviet shipments of military equipment. This maritime blockade, enforced by U.S. Navy ships, created a high-stakes standoff between the superpowers. The presence of American naval forces was crucial in exerting pressure on the Soviet Union and ultimately led to the removal of the missiles, highlighting the Navy's role in Cold War diplomacy and crisis management. As the Cold War ended, the U.S. Navy adapted to new global challenges. The focus shifted from countering Soviet aggression to addressing regional conflicts and emerging threats. The Pacific remained a crucial theater for American naval operations, with a focus on ensuring the security of international waters and maintaining freedom of navigation. Joint exercises with allied nations, such as the annual RIMPAC exercises, reinforced these objectives and enhanced regional security. In recent years, the geopolitical landscape of the Pacific has experienced a profound transformation, driven by the dynamic military strategies of two major powers, China and Russia. This shift has not only altered regional stability but also redefined global strategic priorities. China's meteoric rise in military capabilities has been particularly striking. Central to this expansion is its ambitious naval modernization program, which has dramatically increased its naval presence and capabilities. For example, China has commissioned the Type 055 destroyer, one of the largest and most advanced surface combatants in the world. Additionally, the Type 003 aircraft carrier, named the Fujian, represents a significant leap in China's carrier capabilities, with advanced technologies similar to those found on Western carriers. A cornerstone of China's strategy is its development of artificial islands in the South China Sea. Notable examples include Subi Reef and Mischief Reef, both of which have been transformed into military outposts with extensive airstrips, radar systems, and missile defense installations. These islands are part of China's broader initiative to assert its territorial claims and enhance its strategic posture in the region. China's assertiveness in the South China Sea has sparked significant concern among U.S. policymakers and regional allies. The U.S. has historically maintained freedom of navigation operations in these waters to challenge excessive maritime claims and assert international rights. This has led to heightened tensions between Washington and Beijing, with the potential for accidental clashes or confrontations increasing. Regional allies, including countries like the Philippines, Vietnam, and Malaysia, also view China's actions with apprehension, fearing that their sovereignty and access to maritime resources are at risk. Parallel to China's growing influence, Russia has been reasserting its presence in the Pacific, despite its primary focus on European matters. The modernization of Russia's Pacific Fleet is a key component of this strategy. Moscow has invested in updating its naval assets, including the Project 955 Borei-class submarines, which carry the advanced Bulava ballistic missiles, and the Project 22350 frigates, equipped with sophisticated air defense systems. Russia's increased cooperation with China further complicates the regional security environment. The two nations have conducted joint naval exercises, such as the Joint Sea Series, which involve complex maneuvers and shared intelligence. This partnership reflects a strategic alignment aimed at counterbalancing U.S. influence and reinforcing their respective positions in the Pacific. For Russia, this collaboration with China represents a significant shift from its previous, more Europe-centric foreign policy approach. The convergence of China's expansive naval ambitions and Russia's renewed focus on the Pacific has created a complex and challenging security environment. For the U.S. and its allies, this means adapting to a new reality where traditional power dynamics are in flux. The increased military presence and assertiveness of China, combined with Russia's strategic maneuvers, require a reassessment of defense strategies and diplomatic efforts in the Pacific. China and Russia are stepping up their naval activities in the Pacific for a variety of complex reasons. For China, dominating the Pacific is a key part of its grand plan to become a global superpower. The Pacific Ocean is essential for China's economy, acting as a crucial pathway for energy imports and export routes. By boosting its naval presence, China seeks to protect these vital sea lanes and extend its influence beyond its own shores. Russia, on the other hand, sees the Pacific as a chance to re-establish its global presence. With NATO restricting its actions on the Western Front, Russia views the Pacific as a place where it can challenge U.S. power and build a new strategic alliance, especially with China. The Russian Far East, rich in natural resources and strategic ports, is central to this strategy. China and Russia each have substantial economic stakes in the Pacific, driven by their respective strategic initiatives. China's Belt and Road Initiative, a colossal infrastructure project aimed at enhancing global trade routes, heavily depends on Pacific maritime lanes. By securing control over these waters, China could significantly bolster its economic influence, ensuring smoother and more profitable trade routes crucial for its expansive economic ambitions. Meanwhile, Russia's focus is on its far eastern regions and the Arctic. With climate change making the Northern Sea route increasingly navigable, Russia views this passage as a valuable asset. This route offers a shorter, more efficient path for maritime trade between Europe and Asia, potentially transforming Russia's economic landscape. By developing infrastructure and exploiting Arctic resources, Russia aims to capitalize on the emerging opportunities in these increasingly accessible northern territories. Both nations are therefore investing heavily in their Pacific and Arctic strategies. For China, it's about amplifying its global trade dominance, while for Russia, it's about leveraging the Arctic's untapped potential to enhance its economic and strategic position on the global stage. Recent naval confrontations highlight the rising tensions between major powers. In 2021, the U.S. Navy made headlines with a bold freedom of navigation operation, Faux Anop, near the Paracel Islands, a disputed territory in the South China Sea. This maneuver, conducted by the USS Milius DDG-69, a guided missile destroyer, was part of the United States' ongoing efforts to challenge excessive maritime claims and assert the principle of free navigation in international waters. The Paracel Islands, a group of islets and reefs in the northern part of the South China Sea, are claimed by the People's Republic of China. China has asserted straight baselines around the islands, an administrative boundary that Beijing argues encloses its territorial waters. However, the United States and many other nations view these baselines as inconsistent with international maritime law, particularly the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. During the operation, the USS Milius sailed near the Paracel Islands before continuing its journey through the broader South China Sea. This move was aimed at challenging China's claims and reaffirming the U.S. position that the waters around the islands are international and not subject to China's asserted territorial limits. China reacted strongly to the U.S. Navy's presence, denouncing the operation as a serious infringement on its sovereignty and security. Beijing argued that the phone-up not only violated China's territorial claims, but also contravened international laws, accusing the U.S. of pursuing navigation hegemony and militarizing the South China Sea. The Chinese military closely monitored the USS Milius throughout its mission, underscoring the heightened tensions in the region. These kinds of incidents have become more common, with both countries accusing each other of aggressive behavior. The waters around Taiwan have also seen a surge in naval activity. In April 2023, China's aircraft carrier Shandong conducted maneuvers east of Taiwan, prompting the U.S. to send the USS Nimitz carrier strike group to the region. This parallel military activity increased tensions and highlighted the risk of miscalculations in this delicate area. Though less frequent, naval standoffs between the U.S. and Russia have also occurred. In November 2022, a tense maritime encounter unfolded in the Sea of Japan that highlighted the rising friction between the U.S. and Russian naval forces. During this incident, a Russian destroyer, identified as the Admiral Tributes, came alarmingly close, just 60 yards, to the U.S. cruiser USS Chancellorsville. The Admiral Tributes, a Sovremeny-class destroyer commissioned in 1988, was operating in the Sea of Japan when the encounter occurred. This ship is equipped with advanced missile systems and is a key component of Russia's naval fleet. On the other hand, the USS Chancellorsville, a Ticonderoga-class guided missile cruiser, is a versatile vessel known for its sophisticated Aegis combat system and a broad array of air, missile, and surface warfare capabilities. The incident began when the Admiral Tributes reportedly crossed the USS Chancellorsville's path, creating a dangerously close situation. According to the U.S. Navy, the Russian destroyer's maneuver was considered unsafe and violated maritime navigation norms. In response, the Russian Navy accused the U.S. cruiser of making provocative moves that jeopardized both ships' safety. This close encounter was not an isolated event, but part of a broader trend of increased military tensions in the region. The Sea of Japan, a strategic waterway bordered by Russia, Japan, and South Korea, has seen a rise in naval activities and military posturing from various nations. The close proximity of military vessels from rival nations underscores the risks associated with such interactions and the potential for misunderstandings or miscalculations. In the aftermath of the November 2022 incident, both nations issued statements affirming their commitment to safe navigation and operational protocols. The encounter served as a stark reminder of the potential for maritime incidents to escalate. In October 2023, the Sea of Japan witnessed an unprecedented display of naval might as China and Russia conducted their largest ever joint naval exercise. This significant event underscored the deepening military partnership between Beijing and Moscow, marking a new chapter in their strategic collaboration. The drill, which took place in the waters near Japan and South Korea, featured an impressive array of maritime assets. Over 20 ships, including surface combatants and support vessels, along with submarines from both nations, participated in the exercise. This large-scale maneuver was not just a demonstration of military capability, but also a clear signal of the evolving geopolitical dynamics in the region. The joint exercise was strategically positioned in the Sea of Japan, an area of significant maritime interest and strategic importance. The location was chosen to highlight the growing military synergy between China and Russia, as well as to assert their presence in a region historically dominated by the influence of the United States and its allies. During the exercise, the participating fleets engaged in a variety of complex scenarios, including anti-submarine warfare, air defense, and maritime interdiction operations. These activities were designed to enhance interoperability between the Chinese and Russian navies, allowing for smoother coordination in future joint operations. The drills also included simulated combat scenarios, which showcased the advanced tactics and technologies employed by both countries. The timing and scale of the exercise sent a powerful message to the international community. By conducting such a substantial joint drill near the waters of Japan and South Korea, China and Russia demonstrated their commitment to deepening their military alliance and challenging the existing balance of power in the region. The exercise also highlighted the increasing strategic partnership between the two nations in response to their shared concerns about Western military presence and influence in the Asia-Pacific region. These naval encounters go beyond just the physical presence of ships on the water. They are also opportunities for showcasing cutting-edge technology. China and Russia have seized these moments to display their latest advancements, including sophisticated radar systems, hypersonic missiles, and autonomous underwater vehicles. This technological rivalry adds another layer to their naval competition. Each nation aims to gather intelligence on the other's capabilities while proudly displaying its own technological prowess. The growing frequency and intensity of these naval confrontations have major diplomatic implications. Countries in the region, especially U.S. allies like Japan, South Korea, and the Philippines, are increasingly concerned about the activities of China and Russia. In response, these nations have strengthened their defense ties with the United States, including more joint military exercises and new defense agreements. This heightened cooperation underscores the delicate balance of power in the Pacific and the high stakes involved in regional naval operations. As China and Russia continue to assert their presence and the U.S. works to maintain its influence, the likelihood of further naval encounters and the risk of miscalculation remains high. The challenge for all parties is to manage these tense situations carefully to avoid escalating into a more serious conflict. In a recent and significant geopolitical development, joint naval exercises conducted by China and Russia near Alaska have caught the attention of both military analysts and governments worldwide. The joint exercise involved a formidable display of military assets. 8 Russian military aircraft operating in the Alaska Air Defense Identification Zone skirted the boundaries of U.S. sovereign airspace. The Alaska Air Defense Identification Zone is not sovereign territory, but an area where the U.S. expects foreign aircraft to identify themselves due to the potential threat they pose if they continue unannounced toward American airspace. These planes remained within legal bounds, but served as a clear signal of Russia's military presence. The Russian naval component was equally significant. 4 Navy vessels, including 2 submarines, a frigate, and a tugboat, ventured close to Alaska. While these vessels did not breach U.S. territorial waters, their proximity to U.S. shores raised concerns about their intent. Notably, the Russian ships crossed the U.S. maritime boundary to avoid sea ice, which is permissible under international maritime law and customary practices. This underscores the complexity of Arctic operations, where the harsh environmental conditions sometimes necessitate such maneuvers. However, their presence within such proximity to U.S. waters still signaled a strategic message, particularly in conjunction with the joint exercise with China. China's participation in these naval exercises adds a crucial dimension to the situation. As a rising power with growing interest in the Arctic, China has been working to solidify its status as a key player in this region. Its participation alongside Russia demonstrates the strengthening of military cooperation between the two nations and their mutual interest in counterbalancing U.S. influence in the Pacific and Arctic regions. In response, the U.S. Navy acted swiftly and decisively. 4 Arleigh Burke-class destroyers, the USS John McCain, USS Benfold, USS John Finn, and USS Chung Hoon, were deployed to the region. These advanced warships are equipped with the Aegis combat system, a highly capable multi-mission radar and missile guidance technology. The Aegis system allows the U.S. Navy to track and target potential threats, including enemy aircraft, ships, and missiles, with remarkable precision. These destroyers represent the backbone of the U.S. Navy's surface fleet, combining speed, maneuverability, and firepower. Their deployment was not only a strategic move to monitor Chinese and Russian naval activities closely, but also a demonstration of the U.S. Navy's ability to project power rapidly, even in remote and challenging environments like the North Pacific. Alongside the destroyers, the U.S. deployed additional aerial and land-based assets. P-8 Poseidon maritime patrol aircraft, designed for anti-submarine warfare and intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, ISR missions, were dispatched to provide continuous surveillance of the area. These aircraft, known for their long endurance and advanced sensor suites, are essential for monitoring naval activities over vast oceanic distances. Their presence ensured that the U.S. had a comprehensive understanding of the situation from both surface and subsurface perspectives. The response was not limited to naval and air assets. The U.S. Army also took measures to enhance its defense posture in the region. Soldiers were sent to Shemya Island, part of the Aleutian chain and located approximately 1,200 miles southwest of Anchorage. Shemya Island is home to Erickson Air Station, a facility with a history dating back to World War II, and strategically located to monitor and respond to activities in the North Pacific. The soldiers brought with them two high-mobility artillery rocket systems, a versatile and highly mobile rocket artillery platform capable of launching precision strikes over long distances. The high-mobility artillery rocket system has become a critical component of the U.S. Army's ability to deliver rapid firepower in remote or forward-deployed environments. Its deployment to Shemya Island served as a potent reminder of the U.S. military's preparedness to respond to potential threats in the region. These actions highlight several important trends in Arctic and Pacific security. First, the Arctic is becoming an increasingly contested space due to climate change, which is opening new shipping routes and access to previously untapped resources. Both Russia and China have clear interests in expanding their presence in this region, challenging the long-standing dominance of the U.S. and its allies. Second, the U.S. response illustrates the Pentagon's commitment to maintaining a robust presence in the Pacific and Arctic regions. The deployment of destroyers, aircraft, and high-mobility artillery rocket systems represents a multifaceted approach to deterrence, combining naval, air, and land-based capabilities. The United States Navy stands as the most dominant maritime force in the world, boasting unmatched reach and cutting-edge technology. Its fleet is equipped with mighty aircraft carriers, state-of-the-art submarines, and versatile surface ships, enabling it to handle a wide variety of missions. However, recent naval moves by China and Russia have raised some concerns about the future of U.S. naval dominance. The vastness of the Pacific Ocean can stretch even the impressive resources of the U.S. Navy, possibly leaving gaps in coverage that adversaries could take advantage of. China's rise as a naval power has been nothing short of astonishing. Over the last 20 years, the People's Liberation Army Navy has evolved from a force focused on defending its coastline to a major player in global waters. Central to China's strategy is its focus on anti-access/area denial capabilities, which are designed to keep opposing forces at bay. Advanced missile systems, stationed on both ships and land, now present a serious threat to U.S. naval movements in the Western Pacific. Additionally, China's growing fleet of submarines and the development of its first homegrown aircraft carrier signal the country's strong desire to project its power across the seas. Though its fleet is smaller than it was during the Soviet era, Russia has poured significant resources into modernizing its navy. The Russian Navy's submarine force remains a powerful asset, especially its nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarines and attack submarines. Russia has made significant strides in developing advanced cruise missile systems, with the Kaliber missile standing out as one of its most formidable. Officially known as the 3M54 Kaliber, this versatile missile system can be launched from a wide array of platforms, including submarines, surface ships, aircraft, and even ground vehicles. The Kaliber's flexibility makes it a cornerstone of Russia's modern military strategy. Technically, the Kaliber comes in different variants designed for specific targets and missions. The anti-ship versions, such as the 3M54T and 3M54K, are capable of evasive maneuvers, making them difficult for enemy defenses to track and intercept. These missiles can reach speeds up to Mach 3 during the final phase of flight, ensuring that they deliver a lethal punch to their target. In contrast, the land attack variants, like the 3M14, offer a much longer range, reported to exceed 2,500 kilometers, with the capability to strike deep within enemy territory. Equipped with inertial navigation systems and satellite guidance, Kaliber missiles have pinpoint accuracy. Their warheads can vary, including high explosive and nuclear options, making them a versatile weapon system for different combat scenarios. One of the most notable uses of the Kaliber came in 2015, when Russia launched these missiles from warships in the Caspian Sea to hit targets in Syria, demonstrating their long-range precision. The United States has ramped up its FONOPS, a series of missions designed to uphold the right to freely operate in international waters. These operations aim to challenge nations that make excessive maritime claims, ensuring that no country restricts access to global shipping lanes. This is especially important in the South China Sea, where China's territorial ambitions conflict with international law. By conducting these operations regularly, the U.S. Navy reaffirms the principle of free navigation and demonstrates its commitment to supporting regional allies, reinforcing stability in contested waters. The U.S. Navy is also turning its attention to the Arctic, recognizing the region's growing strategic significance. As ice melts and new shipping routes emerge, the Navy is working to expand its presence in these frigid waters. Plans are in motion to boost naval infrastructure in Alaska and conduct more frequent patrols in the Arctic. Operating in this extreme environment presents unique challenges, requiring specialized ships and gear. To prepare, the Navy is investing in ice-capable vessels and developing new strategies tailored to the harsh polar landscape, ensuring that they can effectively navigate and defend these waters. The future of naval power in the Pacific will be shaped by remarkable advances in technology. Unmanned systems, both on the water's surface and beneath it, are set to become key players in naval operations. These autonomous machines could transform how navies handle everything from tracking enemy submarines to engaging in full-blown combat. As AI and machine learning continue to evolve, their impact on naval warfare will be profound. AI could enhance decision-making, making it faster and more precise, while also improving the accuracy of weapons, giving a major advantage to the nations that adopt these tools effectively. In addition to technology, climate change is altering the strategic landscape in the Pacific and the Arctic. Melting ice is opening up new shipping routes, making previously unreachable resources more accessible. As these opportunities emerge, navies will have to adjust their strategies and strengthen their capabilities. This shift could lead to heightened competition over resources and territorial claims, bringing more naval operations to areas that were once neglected. The risk of accidental confrontations is also rising. Close calls between ships or aircraft, or misreading military exercises could trigger serious conflict if not handled wisely. Key areas of concern include the South China Sea, where multiple countries are locked in territorial disputes, and the waters surrounding Taiwan, where China has significantly ramped up its naval presence. The U.S. Navy's ability to react swiftly and effectively to potential flashpoints in these regions will be essential for maintaining peace and stability. In the coming years, naval competition is likely to escalate as global powers seek control and influence in these crucial waters. How the United States and its allies respond will play a defining role in the future of maritime security and the global balance of power in the 21st century. If tensions escalate further between the China-Russia duo and the U.S., how might the actions of both nations shape the course of history, and could diplomacy still find its way into such a dangerous standoff? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.